understanding money.
I agree.
And the actual power.
Yeah, how it works.
And of how it works. Because they don't teach you that anywhere.
And the system we're in.
Yeah, like...
It's a leveraged system. You got to play their game a little bit. Cash isn't bad, but you got to play the leverage game.
If you want to make it, you need to understand money real fast, because David Ramsey style doesn't make you rich.
I made Dave Ramsey rich.
It only makes Dave Ramsey rich. Yeah. Like, oh God, I paid off my assets. Great job.
Yeah, stupid.
I bought 12.
Listen, if you got 50 million and you want to pay off your 3 houses that are, come up to $4 million of a mortgage, okay, wipe that out. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's more of an emotional thing than it is an economic thing.
But still, it's like, as much as we're saying money is the skill that you need, as much as I don't want to give you two, it's like, you got to have the actual vision of what you want. Because if you build the castle and you didn't actually really think about what you wanted to build, you're just going to sit there and be like, oh, fuck, I didn't want this.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want.
That's a great point.
Because, you're going to get kicked in the dick a lot on this journey, and you just got to be okay with it.
Dude, we all have the best time ever to start a small business.
If I'm not going to be 100% in, I'm not going to do it.
Come on, man, just be yourself.
Yeah.
And just show up as yourself.
If you don't realize what I'm really about, I'm about freedom, family, and my country.
Mr. Nick Fusilli. Cheers, my friend. Glad to have you on finally.
Feels good.
You've been delaying it a little bit.
Perfectionist problems.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, definitely.
So for anybody that's in your ecosystem that's going to watch this, I want them to understand what Fireside, the Pit, and everything that we're doing together and our ecosystem of people are about. It was about turning around and helping the next guy or girl in line. And a lot of times the reason why someone doesn't want to sit in that chair is because they have some type of imposter syndrome. Who am I to get out there and talk? What I have watched you single-handedly do with help of Nikki and myself and our ecosystem of people, as well as your father and other teammates at your job, has been absolutely incredible the last 12 months. And I know you were doing a lot of work before that, and we'll talk about that too. But you're just a regular small business entrepreneur, and everybody can do it. And I'm not saying everybody's Nick Fusilli, but you embody that. And the biggest thing about why I want certain guests on the show is to turn around and help people. And you fucking embody that more than I do. I'm not done. The way that you fucking help people, dude, and get down into the nitty gritty that I would never have patience for, nor am I good at, is just absolutely incredible. And that's gonna continue to come back to you tenfold. And I want people to understand what you have going on. I want people to utilize you. I want you to be able to speak to the people that are watching on the other side of this camera and leave the nuggets that you do for people every day. Brian's sitting here watching with us. You get on and help him with invoicing. I haven't set up my finance page. I've been blessed to kind of be the hunted the last few years and have people reaching out to us for our expertise. I don't really advertise there anymore. You're going to help us get the Google set up. Down to doing my mortgages. I have, a bunch of different LLCs, as people can imagine, and I spend money kind of how I want to and how I see the banking system. And you were able to help out myself and Matt and Kelly with that, and you're just constantly helping people, and that's why you and Nikki both are where you are today on top of your intelligence. So cheers to you, and I'm very proud to have you on.
Thank you.
Not to mention a Pit owner, a Pit future investor, and a coach within the group, and I thank you for all that.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Wall guy.
Oh, yeah.
Up right here in Wall. That's where me and Kelly are hoping to finalize our deal. We're in attorney review.
Yeah.
We're in the last stretch. Beautiful town. How did you feel growing up there?
I mean, it was pretty nice. I mean, now I live in Brick. I did break the cardinal rule. I went over the bridge.
Ooh, OTB.
Yeah, that's OTB.
Now you're white trash.
Yeah, we're trash now, but but it's not too bad off Princeton Ave. But
yeah, I think a lot of people that live off Princeton actually try to call it Manalocan or Matinaconk.
It's a fake, yeah. It's
It's beautiful over there. It's gorgeous. Your house that you and Nikki have built is stunning. I said to Kelly tonight, you guys are coming over. I said, our house is a disaster. We look like white trash. We make pretty good money. Like, we got cleaning people. I said, Nick and Nikki's house is spotless. I remember we went in your bathroom once. You're like, it's really dirty. I went in there. I'm like, I don't think I see dust anywhere. Gorgeous house, beautiful view.
And the whole no kid thing,
Big help.
really, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you two with kids. I cannot wait. Oprah's 4. Patrick Bet David said we got to keep having kids.
Yeah,
so I think you should start us off with 4. You and Baldwin. So grew up in Wall, went to Wall High School. You were a big student athlete, big volleyball player. Mm-hmm. Did you play on the bowling team in high school too?
Yep.
Yeah, you would.
Bowling, yeah, there was, they started volleyball the year after I left college. I mean, the year after I left high school.
And so you weren't into, but you played.
Played, yeah.
Yeah. And then when you went to college, was it bowling continued or?
Bowling continued and played volleyball.
So in high school, how did you really take school? Were you a good student? Did you like it?
I was a great student in intermediate school. And then I missed getting into high-tech high by one spot. And I just basically stopped caring.
So you wanted to go to high-tech school for what?
I couldn't tell you.
So you just didn't want to go to college?
Well, no, like high-tech was like the smart kid school.
All right.
And I missed it by a slot, and I was like, all right.
So what were you, was your friends going there?
Yeah,
like so
at the time, my
it?
best friend, Matt, was going there, and he was the number 1 kid that got in, and I was 3, and I was like, oh.
What's Matt doing now?
He's a doctor of mathematics.
Doctor of mathematics?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think you're doing stuff that's more fun.
It's a little more fun.
So you finished high school, good athlete, live in a great town, great parents, beautiful mother, Nick Prime, one of a kind.
Yeah.
He loves the country club and a couple cocktails. Don't tell your mom.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. And you go off to college. Where'd you go?
I went to Sacred Heart in Fairfield. Mm-hmm. It's a
great school, right?
Christian college, you know.
Yep. Were you raised Christian,
yes.
Catholic? Yep. How did you feel about that coming up? And
I felt like, you kind of fight everything as a kid, but then now you kind of look back at it and you kind of reflect and you're like, the values and stuff that comes from it. It's not that you have to be, oh wow, like I have to go to church every Sunday, but it's more like the values that you build up and they kind of build your character, even if you're fighting the system the whole time.
Yeah.
You end up kind of, it just feels like you're.
When you're doing something wrong.
It gives you a little guidance. You know when you're doing something wrong. Exactly. Like, that's definitely the way to look at it.
Yeah, religion is a tough one for me because I was raised very strict Pentecostal. Every Sunday was like go to Sunday school at like 8:30, and then we didn't get out of church until 12. My Catholic friends are going at like 9:15 and getting out at 10. I'm like, I want to go to that church a lot quicker.
Yeah, we were CCD. I think it was Tuesdays or Wednesdays, like after. So we were like late. So we would go for like hour and a half, 2 hours, and then church on Sundays.
I don't care what it is, whether it be the Muslim religion, whether it be Christianity, Catholic. We talked to a guy on the podcast last who was really into Buddhism. There's good and evil in the world. And if you're following something that doesn't get too radical and it's telling you to live life with a certain set of morals and ethics, which is essentially treating people right and doing the right thing and trying to be better as a human being, I think it's always good. And we don't have to go down the religion rabbit hole, but good college, got a nice base. You started playing volleyball there.
I played indoor, really started there because I only played on the beach. That was it.
Were you any good?
Not really.
No.
I never consider myself too good. I was like the shortest guy on the team. So.
What were you going to school for?
I went to school for accounting. That was where, kind of just in my mind, it was like, all right, Dad was, when you come from an Italian family, it's like, Dad's like, hey, like, just be in accounting, you're good at numbers, like, this is the route for you. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
So, just kind of, as weird as it is, it's kind of like when you're the firstborn Italian family, it's like you kind of realize like you're the namesake. You know, you gotta
A lot of pressure on you.
You get the pressure, so it's like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it. Like I'm gonna do this.
That was last night's podcast exact theme about college.
Yeah.
I swear to God, Italian family,
Yeah.
first in the family. The brother got away with being an electrician instead of going to college. How was your overall college experience? And I want you to be honest.
I can't complain. College was pretty reckless.
You were partying pretty hard.
Yeah, we were. It was like
Talk about a little bit of the apparatus you had
like,
set up.
After the first year or so, like I definitely tried to take it super seriously. It was like, all right, like I'm going to be a college athlete. Like I'm not going to be partying. I'm not going to smoke weed anymore. Like,
Sounds boring.
yeah, terribly boring. And you know, volleyball practice was
when
at
did
4
we get
o'clock in
to-
the morning.
When did we get to like partying hard and
Yeah.
counterfeit fucking IDs?
So here we go. Now it's like,
Like, come on.
now you get to like, you know, after freshman year, I was like, wow, this shit blows.
Yeah.
And it took one fire drill at 2 o'clock in the morning when I had to wake up at 4, when everyone else was just asleep till they had class. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of was like, you know what, I can party and do this.
Yeah.
And just kind of started doing it.
Yeah.
But I was always really good at like the balance when other people would be like, I got to wake up and do this. Like I would use the forced study hall for students, for student athletes. It was like, hey, you have to, you know, go here and study
Weren't you
for 2
partying
hours.
so hard at one point you had to like go home because you were getting in trouble?
That was in sophomore year, yeah.
Oh, so that was the next
Yeah,
year. I'm jumping ahead.
We got to that. We kind of went full tilt, you know, like we went 0 to 100 real hard sophomore year. So I was
What were you guys doing? You were just partying like rock stars?
reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we had the party. We were in the party dorms and we were in the party room, let's just say. And we knew when the RAs were on that you could party and when the ones you couldn't. We had the schedule and
You were having some fun.
we were having a little bit of fun, you know.
You needed a break for a little while. You had to come home. And,
Yeah, we had to definitely we had a hard reset when you know, when mom's got to come pick you up because you were a little too reckless and you have to be like, all right, you know, hey, I got to come home for a week or two to just like, you know, reset and
Nicky, what does that mean?
bring it back to reality a little bit. You know, when you have that kind of reality check and you're like 19 years old, you're like, all right,
Maybe I should chill.
yeah, I got to chill out a little bit.
And you finished college there, right?
Yeah, I finished college there.
With an accounting degree.
Yep.
What was your first job after you left college?
I actually was supposed to work at Witham, Smith & Brown, which
Yep.
now is just Witham.
Yeah.
They pulled all the offers at the time. 'cause-
Huge accounting shop.
Huge accounting shop. At the time, like, there were only 600 or so. Now they're 5, 6, 7,000.
Yeah.
Like,
Our
they're-
firm does a lot of business with them.
Yeah, I mean, they're
A couple of advisors that team up
unbelievable.
with their accountants and
I can't even, like, I interned there my junior, and like before my junior year and before my senior year, I learned so much working there. And I had a fantastic experience. So I was like, hey, you know what? Like, maybe this is for me. You know, and it didn't work out. But, you know, I look at that still, it's like, there's a path for a reason.
yeah.
I ended up, you know, offers got rescinded. It's fine. They had to lay people off. Bad times, you know. We all love that, you know. Liberals take over. Everyone gets fucked. So, you know, people were losing money. They had to lay people off.
Feel
it's
the
fine.
pain.
Yeah, you feel the pain. Like, it's fine. And I ended up working at Meridian, which was corporate accounting. Completely different pace.
Yeah.
You know, I got put in there and it was like, I didn't really know, you know, you don't know anything coming
you
out of
get thrown
college.
into the fire.
You know, just kind of like figured it out. And then all of a sudden I was improving everything that they had there. You know, as I was still learning. I mean, like I was screwing up everything at the beginning.
We're going
But-
to get into accounting and then why you didn't like accounting in the end. But why do you think your brain is someone that like comes in and like you like to still do it with the CRMs and like how the systems are set up? Like what in your brain allows you to do that and kind of do it with ease? Because you're seeing a problem from a helicopter view, but also deep in the numbers. Like, what do you attribute that to?
I think, like, as weird as it is, it's just like coming from, like, growing up was like I only worked blue collar jobs. Like, that was it. Landscaping and construction.
You didn't work with your dad?
I never did. The only thing I ever did for my dad in the summer was
Sweep?
hang parts in the back when he used to have a line.
Clean his Corvette?
Literally. I wish. I mean, it'd be like, hey,
Don't
this
touch
700 degree oven, yeah, it's August, it's 100 degrees in the shop with a 700 degree oven next to you. Yeah, you can fucking hang parts on racks. I'm like, great. That was the only job I ever did for my dad before.
Yeah. He was giving you the treatment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
My brother didn't hang parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're at,
Like, so,
what happened?
like, pulling
How
that
long
back,
stay
like,
there?
you know, I kind of attribute, like, the way that I started thinking about things was just, I was always the guy that just questioned things. And I started to be like, well, why the hell are we doing these things this way? Like,
What do you
and
really need? What's the end result?
yeah, like,
What's the end number? you need?
there's got to be a better way to do this. And I was, and this is kind of why, like, you circle back to, like, the C students are the ones that, you know, it's like,
Logic thinking.
the logic, it's like, that's where more of, like, I was landing of, like, I was really a C student that would grind to be a B or A student. You know, that was really it. Like, I wasn't a,
You're competitive.
that's really what it comes down to. It's like, I mean, realistically, it's like, hey, Mom, you don't want to hear this, but, like, you know, in college, it would be like, all right, well, how did you get A's and B's? It was like, basically just shoot Adderalls like Skittles. Like, that's
Yeah. just
basically
got
what everyone did. you know?
hyper-focused and
Yeah, you just
banged out more.
hyper-focus, get it done, crush it. You know, if you got work to do, you just do it. And that's always been my mentality. Like,
So after leaving that company, where did you go?
I went to LVMH, which is Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. Played around there for 3 years, worked my way up a little over there, and
What was the type of accounting you were doing? Same corporate accounting?
yeah, corporate accounting. Moved into more of a financial role over there, and it was a fun. Like, that was probably the hardest work environment that I had.
How did you get there? Did you have an in, or you applied, or they recruited you?
I just kind of, I was with recruiters and stuff at the time, because when I was at Meridian, it was like, once I had capped out there, I couldn't go anywhere. Like, there was nowhere to go. So they were...
And when you say capped out, did you realize you wanted to make more money than that?
Oh, I definitely wanted to make more money, but I couldn't go anywhere in the company. Like, there
What were you
was
making?
no place. At the time, I was making, like, literally, like, $45K.
Yeah.
And their advancement of giving you more money was...
Can't you pay my
they
car
just
payment with
gave
that?
you more... Oh, yeah, no.
It's like,
Like, they were literally would just give you more vacation days. Like, so by the end of it, I had like 45 vacation days a year, and I was like,
that's not, that role's not paid 45 grand anymore, though, probably not, right?
No.
It's probably like 85.
what, the next one that I had?
No, like that,
Oh.
that same role today is probably paid 85.
I doubt it. It's probably still in the 50s or 60s.
Wow.
It's definitely not making up for inflation. It was like a base level accounting role. So,
So you went over to Louis.
yeah, which was...
Did you ever meet Louis?
No, that would have been cool. But, you know, you kind of get exposure to a lot of stuff when you're in a big company. And that was like...
You learn a fuck ton.
You learn a fuck ton. That really is. And, like, and I had a relentless boss there that I think single-handedly turned me into the monster that I became in corporate.
No, I think you were born that guy.
Yeah, maybe I was, but, like, she awakened it. Like, and I mean, like, and she broke me down. When I mean, like, I was in her office and she was, like, ridiculing me in a good learning kind of way, but, like, breaking me down. Like, kind of how, like, you worked with me a little bit with one-on coaching. She was a little more direct. She was Russian, like, in my face. Like, and I literally, like,
I thought our
remembered,
first call was pretty direct.
Oh yeah, it was. But, like, she was there, man. Like, and like, she had me in tears. Like, I'm not here to deny it. Like, I was like, I left.
Because you want to
that-
do well.
Yeah, like, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna suck. Like, that was my mindset. Like, I never wanted to be the person that was the one holding the team down.
So you learned a lot.
I learned a fucking lot. She literally was like, look, she's like, you're missing these holes. Like, let's fix them. And she just, like, awakened this whole thought process of then it was like, don't try to just take what people are teaching you. It's like, look at the whole system and fix the fucking problem. Yeah. And then you will become the hunted kind of person. Like, and once she saw that happen, I remember for my review, it was like, they brought me in, they couldn't give me the controller position that they wanted to, because it was, you know, in a French company, you have to speak French to be a controller. So it's like, all right, brings me in the office, she talks to me. And she's like, all right, I know I got you on rental right now. I appreciate your time, but like, you know, you have grown a lot, and I'm very proud of you. And like, that was in like a 14-month span. And that just felt like that was really fulfilling, but like at the same time, I knew I could do more. Yeah, but that was like, she really opened my eyes to the whole, like, how to trace money, how to dig into problems, how to really like track everything at like another degree of like nerd level finance and accounting.
And that's the thing young people that are watching need to understand. Like, corporate isn't bad. Like, if you don't know what you want to do and you have no real passion or vision yet, like, go get a job in a direction you think you want to work, or go try a couple of different corporate jobs and go pick up the lessons that they have. They're super structured. They have management, they have hierarchy, you know, all types of systems, procedures. You learn a fuck ton working for corporate America. It never worked for me because I would just get fired. So I've created my own systems and procedures, or the lack thereof, until the last few years when I got the right people and the right pieces in play. But you really learn a lot in the corporate structure, and I don't want to ever deter someone who's leaving college and they hate college, or they think they're going to hate the corporate world. You probably will, but go get yourself some steady pay. Make a few bucks. There's a young kid, Parker Anderson, he probably watches these. I will recruit him to work for Chris or me or somebody else in the pit very soon. He's going to be joining the pit. But I told him, come out of college, he wanted to come work for me. I was like, dude, go do a sales job. Go learn some basic sales skills. And now he's on the bench, right? This is somebody on the bench that, let's see if he excels and does well, and he has. He's absolutely crushed it. And I think a lot of people should do that. Get some experience under their belt, and look how much that accounting helps you. You've been able to help me. You've been able to help a ton of people inside the pit with all those skills, as well as help yourself in all these different ventures that you and Nikki have.
Yeah, like it really taught me when you can trace money, you can find all the problems.
Yeah. Explain trace money.
Yeah, so when you understand the path of money from, like, this transaction happens, this is a real simple concept, but it's like, you know, person swipes a credit card goes to, you know, receivables then drops it into the account. So, okay, now you have it. Now it's in operations. Now it's going to get allocated. Then it's going to go back out for spending for for that company, buying inventory or paying payroll. And then it's back in the, you know, then money's coming back in again. So
were you good at tracing money laundering?
I was really good at tracing money.
What about money laundering?
Laundering, I could probably find it pretty good. But you know,
so
I found a lot
the
of
Ozarks?
Yeah, I watched a little too much Ozarks, but I found a little too many expenses.
You kind of look like that guy from the fucking Ozarks, now that I think about it.
Well, yeah. You
Doesn't he?
say I look like an accounting nerd. Great. Like, you know.
No, like literally, like your side profile, his face, his hair, you literally have the same haircut. Like,
But
now I just think Ozarks.
It's
Your wife's a bitch on that show. She's evil. Not real life.
Yeah.
Not real life.
She doesn't want to be the mayor. That's all right.
Yeah.
But it was like I got in trouble at that job because I basically got too good at finding the problems, and I found like one of the
you start pissing off
like
people.
one of the directors of HR. I was like, look, HR decided to not give accounting their full raises. Well, what do I do being a 24-year-old
rebel,
25-year-old guy? Like, well, I'm gonna start digging into HR's expenses immediately and figuring out like who's fucking the money up. Like, and and I, being the person that I am, I really just don't give a fuck when I go to a meeting, and I stood up, spoke in front of everybody. I was the lowest ranked person there, according to the totem pole in corporate world, which doesn't really mean shit. And I was like, look, I found like $400,000 worth of wasted expenses that HR's done. Like, they're buying tables and we're only sending 2 people. Like, why are we spending $12,000 for a table when we only send $20,000 worth of people there? Like, this doesn't make any sense. You know, where are all these extra expenses going? Like, there's no receipts, there's no fucking anything. Like, I'm digging through all these accounts like a fucking forensic accountant, because guess what? I was pissed off. Like, you cut my raise. Like, all right.
So what was the end result of that?
They were pissed as fuck. Like, I got a calling into this office, and the CFO was like, yeah, you don't need to look at that anymore. I'm like, I see how it is. It's all right. Like, then I just left 2 months later. Like, so
that was your end of the road with working for a corporate?
Yeah, and then I started working for a small business. Well, smallish business, so that was cool.
How old at that time?
27.
27?
Yeah.
So did you know you wanted to go into business for yourself yet?
No.
No?
I still thought, I had the mindset of, I still had this mindset of like, you have to be a CFO. Mm-hmm. Like, grind, learn. Like, listening to podcasts and ebooks every day on the way up and down the parkway, 45 minutes to work, hour and a half to work, depending on traffic, like back and forth.
You definitely have to immerse yourself in, the field that you're working, whatever it is. That's why being niche down is so important. Mm-hmm. It's great to be well-rounded. It's helpful. But when you're working in a specific area, right, like I do life insurance, permanent life insurance, more specific tied to pension plans, and there's a fuck ton to know there. Like, even still to this day, as things change, like, I don't know everything that goes into all of these different retirement plans and how the insurance plays a role, but I knew life insurance and how my product worked and how it worked in conjunction with that strategy. And that was years of podcasts, going to conferences, learning in meetings weekly, just right in the firm, going out, gaining experience and wisdom with clients. And that's something I think anybody that wants to do anything, you need to like immerse yourself in people that are better than you at what you do. I talked to a guy today on the phone, another advisor working for a big firm, a really nice kid. He was calling, asking for a solution for getting life insurance out of a qualified plan, which you really can't do. It's pretty hard to do. There is back-end ways to do so, but you essentially just have that asset inside the plan and you roll it to an IRA. And I'm talking to the guy, but he wasn't really listening. He kept trying to get to the solution to get the sale. And we really just have to listen to people who have been in these experiences. And I struggled with that big time. And you were able to learn a fuck ton, in your different struggles. What was the next job you took?
Next job I took was a controller position, because that was like...
What was the company?
That was DS Distributions.
What did they do?
They were a 3PL company and an online head shop, as well as had like a couple other sub-companies as well.
And you were in a controller position?
Mm-hmm.
So again, just gaining more of that knowledge. And then at what point did you start to say, I'm going to go work with my dad and start to figure out real estate and these other endeavors I want to take on?
So I had always been interested in real estate, but after being at that position, I had full freedom to basically do way too much. I was way more than a controller. And I'm forever grateful for working there, because I immediately realized when I was there, like, that was what kind of gave me that glimpse of working for yourself. Because, like, I'm working for a couple other guys, but, like, none of them understood accounting. So it was fine.
Gave
but, like,
you some confidence.
It gave me the confidence, because I was starting to see more than accounting. Like, I'm seeing the effects receiving has, like, AP, AR, like, and everyone's kind of reporting to me, and I'm hearing it from the owners. Like, hey, like, how are we doing? What's going on? Like, you kind of start to realize the whole flow of the company. And then I went...
Money will do that to you. And you're tracing the money and you're following the money.
Yeah, and you're always on it.
Start to learn. It forces you to learn all different areas of the business.
And I also started learning about how the Google overlords can just literally decide to fuck you one day.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, that was something I learned too there, because, like, all of a sudden it was like, we got screwed by Google and we're no longer the top ranked page. Well, now you're on page 2. You don't exist. You're dead.
So you're 27 years old. Did you meet Nikki at the time yet?
I had met her.
You weren't dating yet, though.
We were not dating yet.
You're not dating yet.
Yeah.
So, and this is something that people need to understand. 27, still kind of 3 years, 2 years. Now in
Wait,
this controller role, how many
27?
years?
Oh, no, 27. No, we did. 27 was it? Yeah, I was 26 because we met at 27. We started dating.
So how many years were you in this next controller role?
I was in for 2.5
Okay,
years.
so, a couple years each one of these jobs, and now at 27, 28, 29, you left there?
Yeah, it was just before 29. I was 28.
29,
yeah.
right? So at 29, you still weren't an entrepreneur yet.
Nope.
You still didn't own a business. You didn't own a piece of real estate yet. A lot of us, I think,
I have my house. I had a townhome. That was it.
And I do like that the younger kids are starting their entrepreneurial thought process younger. I think that's a good thing, but I also think it's a really good thing to gain some world experience, to gain dealing with people. A lot of these younger kids think they have it all figured out because of YouTube. And again, you can learn a fuck ton on YouTube. You can literally build a house, build a tank, build whatever you want off of there. But some real life experience and wisdom is big. So at what point did you start to say, I'm going to go either work with your dad at Thermal or go into doing some stuff with real estate?
It was, let's see, right around 20, I think it was like 28 turning 29. I had gotten an offer to go work for, at the time, Gemini, which this was when crypto was like starting to get bigger. Up and coming crypto firm, and it was like, all right, you're going to come in as the junior accountant and train under our, they like a gun for hire CFO. So you're going to be the junior CFO, and then, after you're trained, you'll be the CFO. I mean, I was getting a.
Don't you love those promises people give you?
Oh yeah, it's like you get those promises, and then it's like
Complete
also
bullshit.
like, oh hey, it's only going to be 3 days, and it's 3 days at home, 2 days in the city. I'm like, all right. Well, at the junior position, the pay was $250. Once you made it to the CFO position, it was $500.
Now, was this an offer you had before you went to Thermal?
This is an
You
offer.
never took it.
Well, I technically had signed the offer,
But you never went and worked there.
And I literally went one day.
And you're like, sucks.
No, I can't. It was like I showed up to the city. I worked one day, went through it, sat there. Like after doing all the interviews.
So at that point, was your brain already made up? Like, I want to go into entrepreneurial world.
Honestly, that was where I got to give credit to my dad. He was like, "Why don't you just come work for the business?" He's like, "You're not going to make nearly as much money as that, but you have all the freedom to do whatever you want." That was
so
what just
important.
like, you know what? Just fucking go for it. It's
Now-
not about it. It's not about the money here. Like, just, you'll figure it out.
And what's Thermal do for people who are watching?
It's a custom engineering firm. My dad's been running it since '87. UV coatings and IR ovens and manufacturing lines. So
Break
like
that down to some more simplistic
basically
language.
every one of your cars and every one of your appliances, if it's made in the continental US, has gone through one of the machines that my dad's made or designed, or at least a section of that manufacturing line.
Yeah.
Like every seatbelt in America goes through one of his machines.
Yeah. And your dad is kind of like one of like maybe 3 in the world
Yeah.
that could make these parts that go inside the ovens because of the heat and just how specialized
They're
it has
so
to be.
it's so
It's not
specialized.
like you can call up, Ford and be
Yeah.
like, hey, yo, send me over a transmission.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need to
It's
design the parts every time they break.
it's funny because like the same people have been calling my dad for 30 years.
Says a lot about your dad and the company.
And it's like that's the kind of integrity with like work, and I definitely got work ethic from my dad. Like, he's just a fucking workhorse. Like he just, no matter what, he will always make sure he provides for the family, and that's just that was the mentality from the beginning. And then you go and work for him, I see it. Like I go in there and I'm like, all right, I want to change all these systems, and like everyone's like, yo, like you can't get rid of the typewriter, and I'm like, what do you fucking mean you're using a typewriter? You know, it's like, and
Well, your dad was busy doing what he was doing, so some of the systems and all that stuff got a little antiquated, and it happens in small business.
Yeah, like, and I mean, there was no inventory system. The inventory system was a journal. So, like, things got changed, and then
What was your main function that your dad wanted you to operate as?
fixing the systems, and then it became pricing. And then
On what exactly?
on the parts and the systems that we made, and it was actually like the best way to put it was honestly like it was like the upgrade kits that we would make, to keep it in layman's terms. Like the upgrade kits that we could sell people, I secured really good pricing on the back end, and we were able to sell these. And I kind of backed into knowing how, like, I started researching like how much everyone was selling this shit for, or comparable things in the industry, and was able to back into like really good margins. And then we just went on a run. And we went on a really good run. I mean, you saw everything, like, you know, after we've done financial planning, it was like we went on a really good run. And then all of a sudden one of our distributors decided to cut us off and say, you know,
Yeah, they wanted to go sell it.
yeah, like, no, it wasn't even that. It was like, you know, we built things, but then they were getting pissed at us because we would also fix them. So we would buy the parts from them and then go fix them. And they're like, well, what are you doing? We're like, well, we're giving the parts to people, and then they go and fix the machines that we built. That's kind of
I
what
want to
you
bring
would
you
do.
back and keep us on track.
Yeah.
So now let's just say by 31 years old, are you and Nikki married, engaged yet?
I mean, really,
Well, how old are you now?
35. But no, we were, let's see, at that
What are you
point,
guys married 3 years right now?
this will be the third. So 2.5.
So let's just say 31, 32 years old. You're engaged.
I'm trying to think about like my 2019, we got engaged. So that's,
I'm just
Yeah,
trying to give
I'm
people
30.
a
Yeah, I'm
visual. It
30.
doesn't have
I'm
to be-
30. Yeah, yeah.
You're 30 years
Okay.
old, 31. Did you guys buy a place together? Did you start thinking about this Airbnb hacking? You know,
So-
where did your mind start to go besides helping your dad grow Thermal and continue his business and
So-
legacy?
we got engaged. Nikki ended up moving in, and then so she bought a rental property, Section 8. It was great, and then from there, that just like we're going. Like, you know, this real estate game's great. Like, let's start to think outside
Let's
the
take
box.
a quick break, and I
Yeah.
want to get into the real estate because I got to take a
Yeah.
quick bathroom break. So hopping back in, you guys to start to do the Airbnb hacks. What was your first property?
So Nikki had gotten that Section 8, and then about a year later, we dove deep. We went all in. We were like, everything we were checking out, we're like, you know what, like, I think we can do this like Airbnb thing in our area. Like, why couldn't we?
We're at the shore, bars,
Exactly.
beach.
Like, you know, it was like, all right. So basically just like gutted our accounts and went, you know what? Let's just buy a unit. Fuck it. And we did it. And we scraped the bottom of the barrel to furnish this thing. Like, we're garage sale, Facebook Marketplace, taking any piece of furniture or kitchen equipment that anyone will give us, filled this unit, got it kind of looking pretty good. And all of a sudden we rented the whole summer, and it's like, holy shit, we
That
made our
worked.
whole deposit. We made our whole down payment back. And it's like, oh fuck, they're like, this works.
Is that the one
And
you were living in?
that one, that we still lived in my townhome at that time.
Got it.
Yeah, my first
Where was that
townhome.
at? Did you own that?
Yeah, I own that one.
Where was that?
That was in Neptune City. It
Neptune.
was like walkable, like 0.8 miles to the beach. And honestly, that was an amazing first place to live in.
You still own it?
Nope. Ended up selling that. So this is the funny part of like, we got that first Airbnb. Then we actually had locked in a second one, pre-construction. And we were waiting for them to finish it. In this meantime, we had gotten married on our honeymoon. Nikki's, hey, look at this fucking posting. They misposted this 2-unit and they're selling it as a 1 residency in Asbury. I'm like, fuck it, let's go check it out.
So let's talk about Nikki's brain and her underwriting skills and her background and kind of how she really has a knack for that type of thing. So that exact thing, obviously other real estate people would be able to pick up on that as well, but she was doing the homework. She was down in the computer. She was looking what was for sale, and she noticed an error that you guys could capitalize on. Like anybody out there that needs some underwriting on investment deals, apartment buildings, tax liens, you need to be able to reach out to Nikki and Nick and have them help you, especially Nikki when it comes to diving into the numbers and finding things like that you can capitalize on and make a lot of money, because one thing wrong in a line item on those deals could really, make or break you.
Oh yeah, and like especially when you add more zeros, but realistically it's the exact same thing, but you can find errors or do something wrong everywhere, but
So what did you guys do with this unit?
with this next unit we actually moved in and quote unquote house hacked, where it's like we lived in one and rented the other, and the other one was covering our mortgage. But we were Airbnb-ing
And where was that?
everything. That was in Asbury. So at that time we had 1 Section 8, 2 other Airbnbs, and our back house Airbnb. And we're like, we're living life pretty good right now. At this point, it's like you don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, you have no kids.
You have no kids.
You still were working at Thermal. She had another job as
Yeah,
well.
and
Where
I
was
was
Nikki
still-
working at the time?
She was working at a firm that specialized in secondary lending for nursing homes and assisted living. So basically borderline private equity.
Yeah, underwriting
deals, finance, and she's really good at it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
So you start to say, I really want to continue to do this real estate thing. And you guys obviously both have full-time jobs. You're now married. You're continuing to help Thermal grow, so I'm sure your income is growing there. You guys are doing pretty well and very profitable with the Airbnbs and the properties that you own. When did this start to spiral into what you have today?
Yeah. I definitely want to say it's like I had also at that time, I already did own a sports facility where I was like, hey, like I'm going to bring
you did-
beach
so you
volleyball.
did get in it.
Yeah, at
All right.
2019, like that was before we got married. It was like,
So let's talk about that
Yeah.
deal first.
yeah, like that was really like my first large endeavor that I went. And I literally took like my inheritance that I got from my grandparents, and my dad helped me out a little bit. And we went and I bought a sports facility with a group. So first time really partners, entrepreneur, like, hey.
Did you guys
like,
build a cap table, or how did you have
no.
you didn't do any of that stuff?
Fucking like, I built a spreadsheet, but I was taking numbers in from other people, and I had no idea what I knew how to build the sheet.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the numbers the data they were giving me.
You
I
didn't
was
know how to check
relying.
it.
I was
Yeah.
relying on other people. Like I had no, and this was like
And this is what's your
trial by
facility
fire.
called?
So
Which
it's
you still
Highline.
own.
It's Highline Arena, but now it's called the Great American Arena because we now rent it to my one business partner that the Great American Volleyball is his.
Yeah, that's his baby.
I know, and it's fantastic. Like he really did build the beach scene, which I have enjoyed since I was 17 years old on the shore playing beach volleyball. So, it was great. Like it was a great experience. Like, but I learned so much from that.
Yeah, what not to do.
Yeah, like mainly what not to do. Like, like out of all of it, it was like what not to do. Because if I had taken that
But you
and
still own the
ran,
business?
Oh yeah, like I still own it, still got a great asset that appreciated. Like, but like you always think about the what ifs, but now it's like I realize those what ifs don't matter.
Yeah.
It's the experience that you learn from that is worth so much more than any of the extra money you could have made.
Yeah, it's a great piece of real estate.
It's still a great piece of
Yeah,
real
you
estate.
could always convert it in the future
Yeah,
if people are open-minded to it, or
convert it or sell it off to my partner. One or the other, one of the two are going to happen.
Yep.
So regardless, I'm never going to lose on it.
so that was another real estate, but it kind of first business play. You guys have a bar up there. You have Thinking Volleyball. You're very entrenched in that community. He was coming in, I'm sure, and bringing his eyes and his people there. Didn't really work out. You also get spread thin. And I think a lot of people don't realize that no matter how smart you are, no matter how much you want to put energy into things, there's only 24 hours in a day. And as we get older, you know, our ability to move fast and our capacity shrinks a little bit. And you were still working at Thermal. You guys had these real estate properties. You're married now. You know, at what point did you start to say, all right, I do want to own other businesses. I want to continue to grow Thermal and continue the legacy. When did that all kind of start happening for you in your mind?
That was really starting like probably about 6 or 7 months before I even saw the free pit. I started to like think about things more. And it was like, all right, well, I'm understanding how all these businesses are working. I understand how I can fix a lot of them. Not a lot of people think this way. And, you know, I didn't want to fight with partners to fix a different, you know, one business because I was like, I didn't see the upside. It just, there wasn't enough. Like, I knew it was my time suck already. And then, you know, got in the group. Started going on the free calls. And then it was like, all right. And then I go to the event. And I'm like, well, fuck, like, do I want to be a fractional CFO? Because I could do that.
I remember you kicking that around.
And I'd be great at it.
Yeah, you would. You practically are for a lot of people.
Yeah, but like, I practically am. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, why the hell am I pigeonholing myself?
Yeah, I want to get away from
I
accounting.
don't want to do this every day. Like, it's what's driving me insane. It's like that. It's like, hey, here's this skill that you're great at. You know, if you're looking at your freaking
you're a
stat
control
chart,
freak.
you know, it's like, wow, you're great at this, but at the same time, this is what's eating away at your soul. And once you can identify that, it's like, all right, well, let's take all the skills that I learned from here and like, let's run with it and do all this other stuff. Business, real estate, like, you can do this. And like, being able to offload that sports facility, like, that was a huge time suck because I didn't know what I was doing. It was more like, hey, like, all right, guys, you know what? You guys go run with it.
When did you do that?
And that was after coaching with you. Like, I finished the full runoff, and that was this year in September. We just rented out to my one business partner, and he's doing great, and I'm really happy for him, and it's awesome. Like,
so, one-on-one coaching, and it's obviously a selfish plug for me.
And that's fine.
But I want people to understand like what you get when you're an action taker. You have capital that you can mobilize and put in direction. You have the understanding to retain these conversations. And they could be mindset, they could be personal, or they could be just solving problems in business. I could come in and immediately, as I talk to you, realize that Nick is trying to do way too much. Wasn't that hard to see. Now, exactly how you fix it, I can give you ideas, but it's up to you to go run that down and figure it out for yourself. And that was something that I give you credit, you and Kirk and a couple other one-on-one clients have been the best with doing so, because that's how you're going to get the most out of those 3 months.
Yeah, it's like when someone gives you an actionable item and you have one call a week, it's like, you got to do the item before
And the other guy
next
that's
week.
mentoring you, it's exciting for him because he sees results. So we're not getting back to the call again and being like, all right, same conversation. And I love everybody I did one-on-one coaching with. You build a friendship. And every one of those guys or girls can call me any day, and they know that, even if they're not paying me anymore. But with you, you had your dad's business, you had this, sports arena, you had the real estate property, and I kind of said, like, what do you think about buying businesses? And your head was already in that space of trying to be a CFO. These people don't know these problems. I said, why don't we start buying businesses creatively? Like, I've been following, what's her face?
Cody Sanchez.
I've been following Cody Sanchez, and I said, so do I. She's, she's got a good mindset. Let me let you into where I think the future thought process of the pit is. This is a breeding ground. This will be deal flow. This will be sticky humans. You ever hear sticky money? Sticky humans doing deals together, and we can go acquire businesses. So at that point, you went and launched Freedom Acquisitions.
Yeah.
But first, we needed to say, Nick, the biggest thing that you need to take care of is the thing that is driving money to all of this. And you guys are making money off of real estate, but it was thermal. That was your father's business, his legacy. It was important to him. And it's a money driver. And although it's not your passion project, you're not a specialized engineer like your dad and some of the other people that work there, but you were able to grow that business, inventory, do a lot of great things with that business. So we got to secure that first. And that kind of had a light bulb go off in your head. Tell me about, the way you perceived that and then some of the action you took.
So after, it was like, all right, look, like, this is this, if you have to like supercharge what you're trying to do, it's like that, you're like, look, this is where you got to go.
This is your least friction.
Time, like your time per dollar is the best in this lane. So, focus on that. And I was able to set up basically have another engineer come in, which came in January, and happened to be a longtime friend of mine that was an excellent engineer. And
no, Hudson.
And he came in January, and he's just been basically mentoring my dad and learning. And it's been great because like we really needed that extra engineering, that true just.
Well, Nick Prime is how old?
He is
67?
Wait, 56, so 68. Yeah.
So 68 years old. Mm-hmm. Again, still working. I go in there, he's like, designing your uncle's like BMW plug-in.
Oh, Porsche. Yeah.
Porsche, whatever it is.
Because some people like electric cars, which, they're fucking gay.
So. Yeah, that's so gay. Well, gay, not really gay, but, oh, God, this is the thing again.
Yeah, it's
gay meaning
it's the like, the normal meaning
kind of
gay,
Porsche,
not the like, it could be gas powered and
way
faster and cooler.
Turbos.
So,
We digress. Mm-hmm. But your dad is just like a madman working on projects like that, and you needed another engineer who was going to get innovative again and work in the space on top of what you were doing. And we came to the conclusion together, which obviously you had these discussions with your father as well, to say like, Nick, like go supercharge this first and then go do these other things. And you did that, you put systems in place, you did some more work with your brother. At that same time, you had thought about this laundry business. And you start telling me what you're doing for this laundry business. You're like putting laundry, service trucks out there, and you're bringing, parts this here and there. And I'm like, what, Nick, what are you doing? How
you're
many
like,
jobs
why
you
are
have?
you paying attention to this? And it's like,
Well, what did you value yourself at? What was your per hour? What is it now?
My per hour is
1,000 an hour?
Yeah, like I'm 500 to 1,000 depending on what I'm doing. If anyone's trying to get me to do anything, I'm not moving for that unless it's my own stuff.
So tell me how you went and took some of the stuff we applied to thermal and the arena and started implementing that in the laundromat, and then as you worked on starting to acquire these other businesses.
The last, I will say the last startup, because I will never do another one, I will always buy one, was that laundry service business, because it was like sitting there, I'm identifying a problem. So it's two of my really good friends have a ton of laundromats. And they come to me and they're like, well, service is the huge thing. They're like, we had to learn how to do all the service. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how good are you at this? And they're like, oh no, we can fix fucking anything. Like, we had to do this because no one else will fix this stuff. So I look at them and I'm like, you're telling me there's nobody else and all the people are retiring that do this, and no, you don't have to have a license for it. No one else does it. And there is no one based out of New Jersey that does it.
So here's the big thing Cody Sanchez says, and this is what people need to understand. There's boring businesses in America that make anywhere from $1.5 to $3.5 million.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have a $3.5 million business at a pretty good profit margin,
you're set.
You're able to pull yourself a really nice income and live an upper middle class, if not if you get...
Forever.
Yeah, forever. It doesn't go away. And you identified that problem.
Real quick.
And one of the biggest ways to make money is find a solution to a problem.
Find solutions to a problem.
Right? Another boring business, Patrick Capaldi, grip stitches, upholstery.
Yeah.
Like every single upholstery guy around this area, all the shore, all the way down to where he is, Little Egg Harbor, they don't exist anymore.
No.
So a couple years ago, same thing. We took him out of his foreman role, driving 4 hours a day in this little shitty car back and forth. And I said, Pat, why don't you go back to the sewing machine? This is a boring business, but it can make you a ton of money. He's already replaced his full income.
Yeah.
He's able to spend more time with his family and do the things that he enjoys doing.
You know,
Like playing in boilers.
Yeah.
Weird.
But like, you know, on that topic, it's just like you start to look at things in a different lens. And as we're looking at things in different lenses, you start to look at, well, if I'm looking at businesses to buy, if I'm building businesses, it's like, all right, well, on the Cody Sanchez thing, it was like she had requests, you know, she was like, hey, like this mergers and acquisitions book, it's miserably horrible to get through, but it's the best book I've ever read for buying and selling businesses. So I skim it. I have ADD. You know that. We got squirrel minds. We're,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And
Do they have that on audiobooks?
it's not on audio. You couldn't handle it on audio. It's like you gotta like Spark Notes it almost. But like, I get through. I start looking at, because it's basically case studies, and I look at it. I'm like, all right, well, you start studying like how do you get those multipliers when you sell a business. So I'm thinking, all right,
Why? What's the reasons?
the reasons why, and it's like, you know, the owners don't actually work in the business.
Yeah, they love management.
You have crazy systems in place. You have constant growth without anyone being involved. And then you also look at it as, well, how are those businesses being serviced? How are they being managed? And it's, well, if you build an entire infrastructure to do everything, I look at it as, oh, now you're into the 10, 15, 20% multipliers instead of a normal business that's being sold being at like 3 to 5 at best.
This is the big problem with small business is we don't look at ourselves as big business, because I think it was the girl Gianna from the jewelry place, and I think she does some apparel too. She was like, you know, small businesses is a little disrespectful because we are running a big small business. And we do, and a lot of times as business owners, we're wearing so many caps, right? It's just like when I launched Fireside, The Pit, you know, Evan at the time was helping me with production, but everything else was me, getting the people here, you know, getting people hyped about it, throwing the events, funding the events. So you're wearing so many different caps, and you just get kind of lost in the
You're lost in the
wash.
sauce, yeah.
Yeah, you're just running. And for so many years, people can operate that way and never really know what their margins are. But their mortgage is paid, they got nice cars in the driveway, their kids are playing lacrosse.
They're like, oh, this is bad.
This is bad, right? But those businesses are never sellable, and now all that life's work gets to the end of the rope, and you have nothing that's sellable. Maybe a truck and the tools and the phone number that came with it for 30 years. And that's it. And more business owners need to pay attention to that. Whether you're young and starting a business now, or you're midway through having a business, get those proper systems in place so you have something that's worth something at the end
But it
of
was
the
like,
day.
you know, highlighting on that was like, that was part of the reason why it's like, that's the kind of stuff that fills my bucket. And that's why I started
enjoy that.
Freedom Acquisitions. It was like, you know, as weird as it is, like, you know, people are like, oh, well, like, don't you like buy real estate and you buy businesses with that? Yeah, I'm like, but also one of the main things that I highlighted that I do is I design exit strategies because I understand how do you increase that EBITDA. Like, how do you increase the EBITDA and how do you increase the multiplier to buy that, to sell that business? How do you make it sellable?
Make it have systems, make it
yeah,
run
it's like,
without you.
You got to have it run without you, or it better be making a shitload of money. Like, if you're running it, you know, to be able to replace yourself. So, you know, once I started opening my eyes to that, then I was like, all right, well, I got to start buying businesses. Like, real estate kind of sucks right now in the last year or so. I was like, well, we're kind of in this, you know, we have a good amount under management. We understand what we're doing. We're really looking into, you know, my wife had, I did coaching with you. She did coaching with a big time, large commercial real estate buyer. And we're like, okay, like, you know, let's kind of figure out, you know, we've been in this like figuring out stage for a while. You know, paralysis by analysis, 100% with some of it. But like, it was, you know, we started buying businesses. So I bought a consignment shop. Then I immediately, right after that, bought into a cleaning company because that cleaning company serviced our Airbnbs. And I'm like, you know what? You're the best cleaning company we've had. My wife literally comes to me with, hey, he wants a partner to grow his business bigger. And I'm like, well, I know for a fact I can easily do this. So like, why would I not partner with him? Like,
Again,
I know he's a
another
nice
boring
guy.
business, laundry service
Boring
business,
business.
cleaning service.
And it's
But
like,
this guy needs help. He needs systems.
he needs help. He needs systems.
Yeah.
He needs someone to understand marketing. He needs someone to understand accounting. I could do all of this stuff.
And not to mention, I own Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And I understand the market. I understand what I pay for. So it's kind of still on your vertical tree of what you're good at, and you can plug and play your expertise.
That's pretty much what I've stayed in right now. If you kind of like, you know, if we built the whole picture, it was like, you know, the laundry stuff kind of, you know, I looked at that as a whole entity, but then I looked at it, I was like, wait a second. Now I have a cleaning company. Well, the cleaning company does Airbnbs. So the cleaning company has to bring the laundry to the laundromat, which we also have in the circle. And then, you know, it's like, okay, well then they come back to my Airbnb, and it's like you're keeping it all in the circle.
You're familiar with it.
Yeah, and you're very
And
familiar with it. You understand the system. Mm-hmm. You understand like how to make money. And
So let's talk about the accounting, and let's talk about EBITDA, and let's talk about those, or let's point out maybe 3 really important things. We talked about systems, right? And there's so many different things you can get into nowadays with your digital infrastructure. These CRMs are absolutely insane. What they can do, what they can tie into, SMS, you know, your invoicing plugs right into, you know, your processor. So many different things, which thank you for using Patriot Payments for all your businesses.
Hey.
And we do a pretty good job, right?
Hey, great job.
What's 3 really important things? And that's hard for your brain to do, because once you go into one, you gotta go deeper.
We're gonna go.
Give me 3
down the rabbit
important
hole.
things when it comes to looking at the EBITDA, how you set up things financially, and then how you get that really good multiple on the back end.
I mean, first of all, like we're going high level only here.
How do you go in and look at a business? If someone wants to buy a business,
If someone wants to buy your
what's the
business,
best way to look at
if
it?
you have shitty
What do I need?
books, if you have shitty books, you're getting screwed.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, like
You're going in to
Yeah.
analyze the business. What's the first thing we need? So we go in with Kirk. We analyze he wanted to buy this pickleball business, which I keep seeing pickleball everywhere. I think maybe we should have told him to buy that business.
yeah, well, it probably
But-
should have been a great idea.
You're going in, what's the first thing you want?
I'm always going to ask for the financials.
So you're asking for the financials. What exactly are you looking for in those financials? Because with small businesses, a lot of times, you know, a lot of our life gets crossed over into business. A lot of times people are like, well, you do that because you could write it off. No, if I'm taking a client out who's also a friend, like that's a write-off, right? So a lot of our lifestyle gets built into our business. Our cars we drive, our cell phones, our laptops, and then, right?
Yeah.
So what are you looking for specifically in the books to help you understand the money that's being made there?
Like immediately before I even look at anything, it's mainly like you look at the ratios. So you look at revenue and costs. Before you even get to the general expenses, you just look at their cost of goods. And if it's not, if they don't have cost of goods, then you got to go right to expenses. But it's like revenue to cost of goods. Because you can tell real fast if someone's reporting all their revenue or they're misreporting things if their costs are completely off.
It's not matching.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, give us an example.
When I went and actually bought the sports facility, like I looked at their food and beverage ratios and I go like, how do you have a 1.1 ratio on revenue to costs of your alcohol? Like how much cash are you putting in your pocket? Because it's got to be a lot. Because I know you're selling at least a 2.5. And that when I mean that, it's like if you buy it for $1, you're selling it for $2.50.
And that's important to know.
And that's important. Yeah.
It may not look it because they've been trying to write that income down so they can pay the least amount in taxes. And what's great as a business owner is you're legally allowed to do that. And a lot of times it is legit, right? If I don't need to bring as much income into my household because I'm not buying shit that I need to leverage the bank for, like,
why show it?
Fuck the tax man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep giving them more money. We're taxed every which way out of our
It's your
fucking
biggest
ass.
expense of your entire life.
Yeah. It's a huge expense. But, lawsuits are right behind it. So
Yeah.
make sure you're protected there. But what's the third item inside that before I get distracted?
But no, it's I always like to look at the payroll. Because I look
Why?
at the payroll expense to see, one, is the owner on it? or are they using draws to pay this? It's like, is it an LLC or is it a corp? Because then what you want to do is you want to back out what the owner's kind of paying themselves. Like even if they're using, like you're saying, like taking people out to dinner, car expenses, insurance expense, like you pull that out and then you look at the business.
Yep.
So that's what I like to look at. Like it's,
Those are big things.
those are big ticket items. Like
so when you move to marketing or you move to, what's out there from a competitor perspective, what are you falling short on? Like how do you then quickly look at that? Because I think someone who's thinking about buying a small business, let's say they've been in corporate for 5 years, they got $400,000 in the bank and they're like, I want to buy a business. I think it's extremely overwhelming to most.
Yeah.
When you have access to guys like myself and Nick and a plethora of people inside of our ecosystem that can help you analyze a business in literally a half hour.
Yeah.
Seriously, we can really get to know a lot. How are you understanding what the market is, and is there still a market moving forward for that business?
Like,
service is a little different.
Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, like, you do have to think about, like, what type of business is it? Like, is this, like, some kind of legacy business that's, like, one of a kind? Like, it's the only show in town? Like,
is there
whatever.
contracts
like,
there?
Yeah, like,
is
do
it
they
going
have
away with the
wholesale
relationship?
contracts? Yeah, exactly. But, like, if you look at something and they have, like, $1,000 marketing budget, you're like, what is going on here? Like, there's no way you only spend $1,000 on marketing. It's like, that kind of stuff like that. It's like, or if they're hiding expenses, like, you can start to really pick up on how fast, you look at the P&L and you're like, where's the outliers? Like, what doesn't make sense?
Yeah, what jumps out of it?
And like, what's jumping out at you? And then it's always nice to eventually jump over to the balance sheet to see, like, what kind of assets do they actually have? What have they depreciated? Like, how old is this stuff? Like,
yeah, how important is that to you?
just-
Like the real estate's owned, how much they depreciated it, what other assets, what type of good assets are you looking for? Cash, real estate?
Like you're looking, like, it's always nice if someone owns the real estate for a business. Like that's always a huge bonus because there's always a ton of value in that. Equipment, you can see how long they've had the equipment from how many years they've depreciated it. You don't even have to ask the question because you see it on the balance sheet.
Yep.
So, those are all really nice things to be able to see.
And that's experience. And that's something that
It is
someone like you
experience,
with that experience can help someone
Absolutely.
that's looking to buy a business. And Freedom Acquisition as well as Fireside are looking to partner with people. We have funding, we have ideas, we have the people. Sometimes maybe we want to give you the business, give you 60%, put up the money, give you a salary for $150, and incentivize you by giving you a majority of the business and maybe just take 40% or take a VIG.
Yeah, or I have the consignment shop right now. I help my
Let's
friend.
talk about that deal in a second. We'll take a quick break.
Take a break.
And we'll come back. So jumping back in quick. There is a lot to know when acquiring a business. There's a lot to do when setting up standard procedures inside of small business. There are really important things to know when running a small business. And you have really spent the time educating yourself, falling down, getting it wrong, spending money on coaches, and just constantly a student. You're on all different types of webinars. You're also having so many different conversations where you're able to get behind the curtains or under the hood of a lot of people's businesses you're just helping in the pit, which also allows you to learn different industries and different businesses. You're always willing to go look at an opportunity. You're never turning it down because you know it's always a learning lesson, as well as all of these other things you're doing. We won't get too deep into a large real estate play that you're trying to do now. When and if that gets fully finalized, the next time you come around, we'll break down exactly how you did that and what your thought process was behind being creative, getting that deal, making sure it's a win-win for you and the sellers. But to the viewers out there, like Nick, Nikki, myself, the pit, like these resources are here for you. Reach out. You can get on a Zoom with Nick. You can get on a phone call with Nick. He's not charging you to get on the phone call. Like, get on the call with him. Let's see if there's an opportunity. This has been a lot of fun. I like to ask two important questions at the end. First one being, if there was anybody you didn't mention already that you wanted to give love to or give a shout out to, would like you to do so.
So, I definitely want to give a shout out to Nikki's dad, which is Harry.
Never met Harry. I think he should come sit on the podcast.
I think he'd be a great person to sit on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope he got a 3-hour slot. For
and
him,
what does Harry do?
He's been in tax liens for a while and real estate in general. Just he understands the game at a level that is unbelievable.
So many different ways to slice
So many
real
different
estate.
ways to slice it, and he's really given us the confidence to now take the step into just adding more zeros to our deals.
And you guys bought some tax liens as well this past year.
Yeah. And it's looking great for that. But that was definitely, a person that I would like to shout out.
Who else? Obviously, we talked about your mom and dad.
Yeah. Trying to think, we used to joke about it, but it's there's plenty of people it's you want to shout out, but it's I really enjoy
It's tough when you're on the spot, too.
it's tough when you're so
Later
really
you'll be like, damn, I should have shouted out.
I really want to just shout out to the pit in general, because we're sitting there talking about it at coffee today, and it's working with everybody and doing business with people, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking around, and 5 of the 9 people there I've cut a check to for one of my businesses to work for me.
Sticky humans.
And I realized that's the point of this. You cut them the check, the job gets done right. Because you have that relationship.
Yeah, the
you understand
relationship's
it.
been built.
You know they're good. Mm-hmm. And that felt really good. It's as weird as it's because that's what this is about.
Yeah, you don't mind stroking a check
No.
to somebody who's been an alliance, they've been a help to your business, or just a friend and a listening ear. Because that's what this is, too. I mean, it is a lot about business. It's a lot about our country. We all have the same morals. We all have the same thoughts. We want to care about, our country, freedom, financial freedom, and our family.
Freedom and family.
And it's fun to do business with people that you enjoy. Again, I wore my MAGA hat and put something up about the UNC guys holding up the flag. A couple people are like, Ryan, you really probably deter what? I deter what? The liberals who think I'm a bad guy because I have a MAGA hat on. I don't think I really do well, and I have no problem with them. I'm willing and open-minded to have a civil conversation with anybody. I think a lot of people on the left or who have opposing views to me would be very surprised at the conversation they have with me. So I challenge you to do so. I'm open-minded, unless you're just a complete whack job and you need a psychologist. I don't have time for that. And there's a lot of them blue hairs out there. But, you embody helping people. You embody everything about the pit, and when you're able to do business with people who think just like you do, it feels really good. There's a lot of checks I write that don't feel good, the IRS being one of them for sure. Second question, if you're a new guy or girl starting out, coming into your entrepreneurial phase of life, whether it be 21 or 29 or 39, what's the one thing, the most important thing? Now, you can't give me 4. What's the most important thing you would say they should know?
If it really came down to anything, I think still at the end of the day, it's understanding money.
I agree.
And the actual power.
Yeah, how it works.
And of how it works. Because they don't teach you that anywhere.
And the system we're in.
Yeah,
it's a levered system. You got to play their game a little bit. Cash isn't bad, but you got to play the leverage game.
If you want to make it, you need to understand money real fast, because David Ramsey style doesn't make you rich.
I made Dave Ramsey rich.
It only makes Dave Ramsey rich.
Yeah.
Oh God, I paid off my assets. Great job.
Yeah, stupid.
I bought 12.
Listen, if you got 50 million and you want to pay off your 3 houses that are, come up to $4 million of a mortgage, okay, wipe that out. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's more of an emotional thing than it is an economic thing.
But still, it's as much as we're saying money is the skill that you need, as much as I don't want to give you two, it's you got to have the actual vision of what you want. Because if you build the castle and you didn't actually really think about what you wanted to build, you're just going to sit there and be like, oh, fuck, I didn't want this.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want.
That's a great point.
Because, you're going to get kicked in the dick a lot. on this journey, and you just got to be okay with it.
Yeah, listen, it's being an entrepreneur, that's small business.
Yeah.
This has been an awesome chat.
That's been great.
I'm glad that some people who watch this are going to be able to get a little bit of insight into how your brain works. And we have you in a calm state. It's late at night. It's 11:30. Yeah. It's not Nick hyped up on 6 espressos after a workout.
We could do this at 5 o'clock in the morning. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I said to Matt earlier. I'm like, I wish I did the fire pit dark early where my brain's firing. When I get up and I get those 2 cups of coffee in me. But this is a lot of fun.
We'll do our next one at 4 a.m. I'll be ready.
I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate
We're going to do a lot
you
of
too,
business together. We're going to help I can't even. A fuck ton of people. A fuck ton of people. And we're going to help this country, which is actually most important because I have kids and you and Nikki will have future kids, God willing. And I appreciate you, brother. Cheers.
Yeah. Appreciate you too, man.